This is ancient Rome at this time. The empire covered Spain, Turkey, Italy, Greece, Syria, and Lebanon.
It also covered Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, Portugal, 1.062 million square miles. Next we move into our gods. This is Apollo, god of light and god of truth.
Look up to the sky, breathe before the dawn, 'cause they fly away.
Our second most important god is Jupiter, god of lightning, thunder, and the ruler of the other gods.
They fly on.
Our next god is Neptune, god of the sea and horses, and his symbol was the trident. Neptune was a brother of Jupiter, Pluto, and Juno. Additionally, his counterpart in Greek mythology was Poseidon. It was these main three gods that allowed Rome to develop architectural achievements such as its aqueducts, plumbing, and monuments.
Still I always look up to the sky, breathe before the dawn.
These famous colosseums in Rome are still visible today, and they would house up to 50,000 people willing to spend the money and see the bloodshed. And sometimes it would fit both rich and poor, and people would come to see the gladiators fight each other or sometimes fight other animals.
Maybe one day I'll fly next to you. Fly on, right through. Maybe one day I can fly with you. Fly on. Fly on.
Over 2,000 years ago, the ancient world had public pools and baths, mainly in ancient Rome. In ancient Rome, they had public baths called bathhouses. Pools won't come till later. So these bathhouses were basically big buildings that rich and poor people could go to wash up, basically. Now, there were several baths, several pools, with water flowing in from an aqueduct. And these aqueducts would split up over many miles, starting in one reservoir and going to another, or most of them start in the same reservoir. And they would carry water from that reservoir to the city, and that water carried from the reservoir would flow out of the aqueduct and into the bathhouse, and there and fill up the pools. Now, in ancient Rome, they didn't have great ways of desanitizing or sanitizing their pool water, So what they ended up doing was dirty water went through an overflow tray of the pool and into a tiny little tube, basically, a stone pipe. And that pipe would go into a room which was a boiler room. And it'd fill up these tanks, and these tanks would be of the water, the pool water. And underneath the tanks there was a wood-burning fire. And the fire would boil the water, and then that hot water, that hot sanitized water, would flow out of the boiler room and back into the pool, back into the bathhouse area. And that would ensure a clean pool system, clean patches of water that people could bathe in. And wanted to mention that the best water was not for the pools. The best water went through the same aqueduct usually, but split. And then the best water would go to the city for the water plants where you would drink. So the best water would be for drinking, and then the other water, the second best water basically, would be used for pool and bath uses.
Rome, in its earliest days, was governed by kings. However, they had to develop their own form of government because kings didn't seem to be working very well. So, eventually, after lots of trial and error, they worked out a system kind of more democratic than a lot of systems back in the day. There were elected officials, judges, magistrates, and tax collectors. Being some of them, they were also elected to look after the poor of Rome. So, they could be voted out of office every term, and things like that. That was just very advanced for the time.
There was a Senate, but the councils went to the Senate, and they were advised by the Senate. But, the Senate, they weren't expected to know everything. I don't think anyone was in ancient Rome. So the Senate was made up of leading citizens of ancient Rome, and it would discuss issues like new laws, financial issues, and other things affecting Rome, its citizens, and its government. And there were about 600 men in the Senate, and they were usually from rich, noble families as opposed to poor, peasant-like people. And they were really the ones who were the forefront of determining Roman law.